You know that feeling when you stumble upon a game nobody's talking about, and suddenly you can't put it down? Like, where has this been all my life? Yeah, the PlayStation 5 might be known for its blockbuster hits, your God of Wars and Spider-Mans, but trust me, there are some hidden gems quietly sitting on that digital shelf, just waiting to blow your mind. Some of these games had rough launches, some were just overshadowed by bigger releases, and some, well, they were just too weird for the mainstream crowd. But that's what makes them special. So today we're going treasure hunting. I've rounded up 20 PS5 games that were secretly great, titles that deserve way more love than they got. You might even find your next gaming obsession here. And hey, if you've played any of these already, or if I miss your personal favorite, don't be shy. Drop it in the comments. I'm always looking to expand my backlog, not that it needs any help. All right, ready to dive in? Let's uncover some hidden greatness. Now for something completely different, What Remains of Edith Finch. This is less about twitch reflexes and more about storytelling, a narrative experience that feels like stepping into a living, breathing novel. You play as Edith Finch, the last surviving member of a cursed family. Returning to her childhood home, you explore the abandoned, sprawling house, each room frozen in time like a shrine to its former occupant. And here's the magic. As you explore, you'll experience the final moments of each family member through wildly creative gameplay vignettes. One moment you're a child imagining you're a shark hunting fish, the next you're in a comic book horror sequence straight out of Tales from the Crypt. Each story is uniquely crafted and emotionally powerful, sometimes whimsical, sometimes heart-wrenching. It's about mortality, memory, and the stories we leave behind. And in just a couple of hours, Edith Finch will leave a bigger impact than many games 5 times its length. If you've ever wanted to see what games can do as an art form, this is it. Animal Well. Now this is a hidden gem that'll quietly crawl under your skin in the best way possible. Picture this, a pixel art Metroidvania that's not about combat, not about flashy skills, but pure, unfiltered exploration and puzzle solving. It's all about curiosity. You play as this little blob, yeah, no sword-swinging knight here, dropped into a sprawling, interconnected labyrinth. The world is dense and layered. You're constantly finding new paths, hidden switches, and curious objects. And every new room has you thinking, wait, what's that in the background? Can I get up there? Spoiler alert. Yes, eventually, but you'll have to figure out how. Here's the thing. Animal Well isn't holding your hand. No quest markers, no tutorials. You rely entirely on your wits and observation. And because of that, when you finally solve a tough puzzle or loop back to an area you couldn't access before, oh man, that aha moment hits hard. And the atmosphere? It's got this eerie charm, somewhere between cozy and unsettling. The sound design is top-notch too, adding a sense of depth to this pixel world. If you love games that make you think where every inch of the map hides a secret, Animal Well is an absolute must-play. Just be prepared to get wonderfully lost. You're a lone, silent warrior, known only as the Penitent One, roaming a grotesque, gothic world where every statue weeps blood, and the walls whisper ancient sins. Sound intense? Oh, it is. Blasphemous is what you'd get if Hollow Knight and Bloodborne had a fever dream. It's a brutal side-scrolling action platformer with a distinct Spanish Catholic aesthetic, dripping with religious iconography, twisted architecture, and enemies that look like they crawled straight out of a medieval painting. But here's the kicker. It's hard. And I mean the good kind of hard. Every encounter forces you to learn enemy patterns, time your dodges perfectly, and strike with precision. And the world? It's this sprawling, interconnected labyrinth where each shortcut unlocked feels like a personal victory. And let's not forget the art direction. Every pixel feels meticulously crafted, making the grotesque oddly beautiful. If you're craving a game that challenges both your reflexes and your understanding of symbolic storytelling, Blasphemous should be on your radar. Trust me, once you start, you'll either emerge victorious or utterly penitent. Next up is one of my personal favorites, Celeste. Don't let the cute pixel art style fool you. This is one of the most challenging and emotionally resonant platformers you'll ever play. You play as Madeline, a young woman attempting to climb the perilous Celeste mountain. Simple premise, right? But here's the genius. The mountain becomes a metaphor for Madeline's personal struggles with anxiety, depression, and self-doubt. And every jump, every death, every retry mirrors her fight to keep going. Gameplay-wise, it's all about tight, responsive control. You'll dash, wall jump, and thread the needle through some of the most deviously designed levels in platforming history. And yes, you'll die. A lot. But failure here never feels punishing. The instant respawns encourage experimentation, and the game constantly pushes you to overcome both the level and your own mental blocks. Add in a gorgeous soundtrack and a story that hits you right in the heart, and you've got something truly special. Celeste isn't just a game about climbing a mountain. It's about climbing out of your own darkness. And honestly, that's a journey worth taking. Okay, let's talk about Chorus. Now, on paper, it's a space combat shooter, but trust me, it's way cooler than that sounds. You play as Nara, a former cultist ace pilot with a haunted past. She's flying this sentient starfighter named Forsaken. Yep, your ship literally talks to you. Think Knight Rider, but in space with lasers. Right from the start, Chorus hits you with this dark, mysterious vibe. The universe feels massive and lived in. One minute, you're dogfighting enemy squadrons through asteroid fields. The next, you're exploring derelict space stations with eerie whispers in your headset. And man, the combat, chef's kiss. It's fast, fluid, and almost dance-like. You're not just circling ships endlessly. You can drift, teleport, and chain crazy maneuvers mid-battle. It's got that satisfying one more fight feel. Now here's the thing, Chorus completely flew under the radar. Barely anyone talks about it. But if you love sci-fi, a good redemption arc, and the thrill of mastering a sleek space fighter, give it a shot. You might just end up addicted. Alright, ever wanted to be the leader of a cuddly, slightly creepy cult? No? Well, Cult of the Lamb might just change your mind. You play as, you guessed it, a little lamb. But this isn't some farm sim. You've been resurrected by a mysterious entity, and now it's your job to build a following. On one hand, you're running a cute little village, cooking meals, building beds, keeping your followers happy. On the other, you're diving into roguelike dungeons, slaying heretics, and recruiting new believers. It's this weird, wonderful mix of Animal Crossing meets Hades, and somehow it just works. The art style, adorable yet dark. The gameplay loop, completely addictive. You'll tell yourself just one more run, and next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. and you're planning cult upgrades like a maniac. What I love is how much personality the game oozes. Your followers worship you, but they also get sick, demand sermons, and might even question your divine leadership. Will you be a benevolent shepherd or a tyrannical overlord? Entirely up to you. It's quirky, it's clever, and it's easily one of the most unique games you can play on PS5 right now. Alright, now for pure chaotic fun, enter the Gungeon. Picture this, like a bullet hell dungeon crawler where the bullets are the dungeon. No joke. The rooms, enemies, even bosses are themed around guns and ammo. It's absolutely absurd. In the best way. You choose a quirky character, like a marine, a convict, or even a bullet with legs, and dive into the Gungeon, a procedurally generated maze packed with traps, treasure, and approximately 1 zillion bullets flying at you at any given second. The humor here is top-notch. You'll find guns that shoot fish, rainbows, or literal letters that spell out BANG. There's a dodge roll mechanic that's key to survival, and once you nail the rhythm of weaving through a screen full of neon projectiles, it's so satisfying. The grind? Oh yeah, you'll die. A lot. But every run teaches you something new, and the loot variety is ridiculous. It's a perfect just one more run game. If you love challenging gameplay, quirky humor, and the thrill of narrowly escaping a literal wall of bullets, Enter the Gungeon is a gem you shouldn't miss. Alright, buckle up, because Ghostwire. Tokyo is weird in the best way possible. The streets of Tokyo, completely empty. Everyone vanished, except for you and a whole lot of restless spirits. You're Akito, and thanks to a mysterious spirit named KK, you now wield elemental powers, firing wind blasts, water blades, and even purifying corrupted spirits with flashy hand signs. The combat, super slick. It feels like you're casting spells in first person, part shooter, part sorcerer. But it's not all about action. The open world is packed with atmosphere, glowing shrines, fog-choked streets, haunted alleyways. You'll pet spirit dogs. Yes, you heard that right. Free trapped souls. Uncover urban legends and dive into some seriously creepy side quests. And those yokai? Some are helpful, some will give you nightmares. This is one of those games that dares to be different, blending Japanese folklore with a unique action-adventure formula. If you're craving something supernatural and stylish, this is a hidden gem worth exploring. Let's start with Hollow Knight, Void Heart Edition, a game that's as beautiful as it is brutal. Now, on the surface, it's this charming little hand-drawn action platformer. But don't be fooled. Beneath that elegant art style lies one of the deepest and most rewarding Metroidvania experiences out there. You play as this mysterious tiny knight exploring the ancient kingdom of Hallownest, a fallen world brimming with secrets, hidden paths, and seriously tough enemies. And when I say hidden, I mean it. You'll constantly stumble upon winding tunnels, forgotten ruins, and cryptic NPCs that each add a little piece to the larger story puzzle. Combat is silky smooth, quick slashes, air dashes, magical abilities, all requiring precision and timing. And the world, absolutely stunning. Every area is unique, from eerie fungal wastes to vast underground cities. The atmosphere is so immersive you can almost feel the dust in the air. But here's the kicker, Hollow Knight doesn't hold your hand. There's no waypoint or guiding arrow. You have to explore, get lost, experiment, and honestly, that's what makes it so rewarding. If you're the type of player who loves games where curiosity is constantly rewarded, this one's an absolute gem. So go on, grab your tiny sword, dive into the abyss, and prepare to be obsessed. Now this one, buckle up. Inscription is one of the hardest games to explain, but one of the most rewarding to experience. On the surface, it's a deck-building card game. Simple enough, right? But then the game pulls you deeper and deeper until you realize you're caught in a bizarre psychological horror puzzle box. The first few hours feel like an eerie escape room. You're trapped in a cabin, playing cards against a shadowy figure. But as you explore, the game starts bending its own rules. Mechanics evolve, genres shift. I won't spoil it, but trust me, every time you think you get it, Inscription throws a curveball. The tone is haunting, unsettling in the best way, and the card game itself is genuinely strategic and addictive. You'll find yourself obsessing over deck synergies, experimenting with sacrifice mechanics, and trying to piece together the larger mystery. On PS5, the atmospheric visuals and subtle haptics on the DualSense really elevate the experience. It's the kind of game where you want to play in a dark room, no distractions, and just sink in. If you're tired of formulaic games and want something that surprises you at every turn, Inscription is an absolute must-play. If you ever wanted to feel like you're playing a Pixar movie, this is it. Kena. Bridge of Spirits is absolutely gorgeous. Lush forests, ancient ruins, sparkling rivers, and those tiny adorable companions, the Rot. I mean, just look at them. How can you not fall in love? You play as Kena, a young spirit guide tasked with helping lost souls move on. It's not just about fighting corrupted spirits, it's about understanding their stories, their pain, their regrets. The emotional depth really surprised me. Combat is fluid and satisfying, and one has a mix of staff strikes, spirit bow shots, and clever rot-based abilities. There's a nice balance here. You get exploration, light platforming, puzzle solving, and challenging boss fights. And don't be fooled by the cute art style. Some bosses will seriously test your reflexes. Bridge of Spirits is one of those games that radiates heart and craftsmanship. It's a perfect choice when you want something beautiful, touching, and just downright fun to play. Trust me, once you start, you won't want to put it down. Okay, picture this. You're blasting demons in hell, but every single shot, dash, and reload is perfectly synced to a headbanging heavy metal track. That's Metal, Hellsinger in a nutshell. It's part rhythm game, part first-person shooter. And trust me, the more in sync you are with the beat, the more damage you deal. It's like Doom met Guitar Hero, and they made a demon-slaying love child. Now, the soundtrack isn't just background noise, it drives the gameplay. And it's not some generic metal, and we're talking actual vocals from legends like Serj Tankian of System of a Down. Every time you get a kill streak going, the music builds. And when the vocals kick in, oh man, it's pure gaming adrenaline. The game's surprisingly tight and fluid. Weapons feel punchy, movements fast, and nailing combos becomes this hypnotic loop. And the best part, even if you're not a hardcore rhythm gamer, it's still super accessible. Plus, it runs buttery smooth on PS5 and 4K, 60 frames per second, super responsive. If you want a shooter that feels different and leaves you grinning ear to ear, give Metal Hellsinger a shot. Just maybe warn your neighbors first, because you're gonna crank that volume. Next up is Miasma Chronicles. And folks, if you love tactical RPGs with a hefty dose of narrative, you need to check this one out. Picture this: a post-apocalyptic America, overrun by a mysterious force called the Miasma. You play as Elvis. No, not that Elvis. A young man on a quest to control this deadly phenomenon, armed with a high-tech glove and a ragtag team of companions. The game blends XCOM-style turn-based combat with exploration and storytelling. You'll sneak through enemy-infested zones, set ambushes, and pull off satisfyingly strategic takedowns. The cover-based mechanics are rock solid, but what really elevates the experience is the blend of stealth and combat. You're encouraged to scout, isolate targets, and plan the perfect approach. And the world? Oh, it's dripping with atmosphere. Crumbling cities, neon-lit ruins, mutated creatures. It's the kind of setting that makes you want to poke into every corner just to see what's lurking there. But here's what hooked me: the characters. There's a real heart in this story. It's not just another grimdark apocalypse, but it's about family, survival, and finding hope in the ruins. If you've been craving a smart, story-driven tactics game, Miasma Chronicles deserves a spot on your playlist. This one? Oh, it oozes style and challenge. Imagine a bleak gothic world handcrafted in gritty pixel art, like someone mixed Castlevania with a dark fairy tale, and then sprinkled in a hefty dose of Souls-like brutality. You play as Grey Irma, a clay warrior brought to life, searching for her creator. Sounds simple? Ha! The lore here runs deep. You'll find cryptic messages, strange allies, and more questions than answers. And don't expect to just breeze through. The combat is fast, precise, and punishing. Every enemy can end you if you slip up. Here's what really hooks you: death isn't the end. Every time you perish, the world shifts. Enemies grow tougher, shadows become more relentless, and you must adapt. It's a game that constantly keeps you on edge in the best way. So if you're craving a 2D game that feels like a dark poem with razor-sharp edges, Moonscars is waiting to test your mettle. Cut to black. Mortal Shell. Now here's a Souls-like that really gets it. Tight, focused combat, haunting world design, and an intriguing twist. You don't play a traditional hero, you possess fallen warriors called shells. Each shell comes with its own strengths and weaknesses. Want to tank hits and trade blows? Grab Aerodrim. Prefer agility and stamina management? TL's your guy. And trust me, swapping between them changes how you think about every fight. What I personally love? The combat's rhythm. There's a unique harden mechanic that lets you turn to stone mid-attack to absorb hits. Time it right, and you can completely turn the tables on an enemy. It's also got this eerie, minimalist story. You'll piece it together through whispers, item descriptions, and encounters that leave you thinking long after you've put the controller down. Bottom line, if you've worn out your copy of Elden Ring or Dark Souls, Mortal Shell is a smaller, more distilled, Souls-like experience that absolutely deserves a spot on your playlist. Let's talk about Returnal, or as I like to call it, Groundhog Day with aliens and emotional trauma. You play as Selene, a space explorer who crash lands on an ever-changing alien planet called Atropos. And here's the kicker. Every time you die, the world reshuffles. Yep, it's a roguelike, but instead of the usual pixelated dungeon, you get a fully 3D, next-gen eerie sci-fi playground. Now, don't let the shooter label fool you. This game is a pure adrenaline rush. The combat? Fast, fluid, and frantic. 1 second you're dodging neon bullet storms, the next you're emptying an overcharged carbine into an interdimensional horror. And oh, the DualSense controller. You feel every trigger pull, every raindrop, every enemy shriek. But here's where it gets really interesting. Beneath all the shooting and dodging, there's a story that slowly unravels with each loop, a psychological mystery about grief, guilt, and memory. You start to wonder, is it the planet that's broken, or Selene herself? It's challenging, no doubt, but if you love games that reward perseverance and exploration, Returnal will have you hooked. Just be ready for a few controller throwing moments. We've all been there. Let's switch gears with Strayblade. If you've been intimidated by Souls-likes before, this one's for you. It's an action RPG that takes the genre's best ideas, challenging combat, meaningful exploration, but makes them more approachable and honestly more fun. You play a rogue adventurer exploring the ancient Valley of Acrea, accompanied by your little companion, Boji, a magical creature who helps with crafting and puzzles. And let me tell you, that dynamic brings a nice bit of warmth to an otherwise dangerous world. Combat here is all about flow, parrying, dodging, striking. It's fast-paced but readable. And as you progress, both you and Boji level up in ways that genuinely change your playstyle. You'll be experimenting with different weapons and skills constantly. Another thing, the world is alive. Defeated bosses change the landscape. Paths open, enemies evolve. It's super satisfying to see the impact of your actions on the world itself. So if you want a Souls-like with a splash of color, some heart, and a little more forgiveness, Strayblade is a great way to dive in. Alright, let's switch gears. No combat, no enemies, just time. The Gardens Between is one of those games that sneaks up on you emotionally. You control two childhood friends, Arena and Friend, exploring surreal islands made from fragments of their memories, things like toys, furniture, or old computers towering like monuments. But here's the genius part. You don't control the characters, you control time itself. Move time forward or backward, and the world shifts. Puzzles unfold as you rewind events or trigger moments at just the right instant. It's like being the editor of their memories. The art style? Gorgeous. The music? Dreamy. And without a single line of dialogue, the game tells this heartfelt story about friendship, growing up, and moving on. It's short, maybe 2 to 3 hours, but it'll stick with you way longer. Trust me, if you need a beautiful, thoughtful break between those 100-hour RPGs, The Gardens Between is pure magic. Imagine this, you're alone on a tiny island where the only thing keeping you company is an old, creaky lighthouse. Sounds peaceful? Oh no, my friend. This is anything but. No One Lives Under the Lighthouse is one of those retro-inspired horror games that sneaks up on you. It's not about cheap jump scares, and it's about atmosphere. The low poly visuals, the grainy filters, the eerie silence broken by distant waves, or something else moving in the dark. You're here to replace the old lighthouse keeper, but things aren't exactly going to plan. Strange noises at night, locked doors, objects that weren't there before. And the less I say about what's under the lighthouse, the better. What I love is how the game respects your imagination. It feeds your paranoia with subtle hints rather than spelling everything out. If you grew up on old school PC horror or love games like Paratopic or Iron Lung, this one's right up your alley. Just maybe don't play it alone at midnight, okay? Now for something truly unique, The Veil. Shadow of the Crown. This isn't just an underrated game, it's an experience unlike almost anything else on PS5. Here's the twist. It's an audio-focused action RPG. Yep, that's right. You play with your ears. You take on the role of a blind princess who's thrust into danger after her caravan is attacked. With no sight, you rely entirely on sound to navigate, fight, and survive. Footsteps on gravel, the rustle of the wind, an enemy's blade whistling towards you. Every cue matters. Combat is intense and surprisingly visceral. You'll hear enemies circling you, strike when they close in, and use directional audio to block or dodge. It's an incredibly immersive experience. You feel in the moment, vulnerable but powerful. And the voice acting? Absolutely top tier. The story is rich. The world feels alive through sound alone, and honestly, playing this game makes you rethink how games can tell stories. Whether you're sighted or visually impaired, The Veil offers an experience that's not just different, it's important. Trust me. Put on some good headphones, dim the lights, and let yourself be transported. You won't forget it. And there you have it, 20 PS5 games that were secretly great. Honestly, I love doing videos like this. It always feels like sharing cool finds with a bunch of friends. And who knows, maybe one of these games will become your next late-night obsession. But hey, now it's your turn. Did I miss a hidden gem you absolutely love? Maybe that one game you're always telling your friends about, but they just won't listen. Drop it down in the comments. I seriously read every one of them, and I'm always hunting for my next surprise hit. And if you had fun hanging out today, you know the deal. Hit that like button, maybe subscribe if you want more videos like this, and ring that notification bell so you never miss the next batch of gaming goodness. Alright, I'm off to chip away at my ever-growing backlog. Wish me luck. Catch you in the next one. Happy gaming, everyone.